costume uses 28 different fabrics, leather, pleather, woolen and silk and velvet, all of which are among those. The bodice itself is made of leather, taking over 250 hours to complete. It is hand-dyed, wet moulded and entirely hand-stitched together. The jacket and the sleeves are quilted and decorated with hand-sewn embroidery and top stitching. The necklace pendant, created by sculpting Fimo clay for making a silicone mould and cold casting resin with brass powder. The belts are also hand-sewn, dyed and tooled, and the pouch is hand-sewn using 2 different types of leather for decoration. That was Maker and Muse Cosplay there, as Tris Marigold from Free. This costume also includes real hand-cut leather, burnished and detailed, and the plate steel involved in this costume has been hand-hammered on an anvil to create the metal parts. The chainmail is hand-wound and woven, and the stitch detailing is sized to accurately recreate the video game original. The swords have been modelled, then 3D printed by the cosplayer, and finished over 7 weeks. The cosplayer also notes that the 3D patterns are available on request. The costume involves some 600 hours over the course of the year to make. Maritime costumes there, as this is a sewing and embroidery project. The dress involves over 10 metres of gold silk, 6 metres of brocade and just over 70 metres of tulle fabrics in the petticoats. In the bodice there is 13 metres of Ridgeline boning. There's a matching hairpiece with the same jewel, and that's also on the bodice and upper skirt. There are 11 of these jewels overall in the costume. The costume involves some 32 pink roses on the bodice going around the top, all hand stitched on the applique of the bodice, which is also stitched on. It's been a huge... This is constructed of velvet and satin with a machine embroidered face. The cosplayer is particularly happy with the magic mirror involved in the costume. There's also over 100 buttons sewn on by hand, 80 of those just in the coat. The fabric is Myron Oakley, here as Philippe Delines from Versailles. This is a mid-1600s French court style costume, the time of Louis XIV. They drafted the patterns personally, but based them on historical designs. The embroidery is cut from Indian sari fabric and sewn onto the coat by hand. The stock is French lace with gold thread. Every panel in the coat has been pattern matched, and our cosplayer notes they are particularly happy when cosplaying Olaf's Adventure. The cosplayer is particularly pleased with the tiny, adorable hat, which was the driving motivation behind making this costume, although the embroidery stuff is also cool, I guess. It is, they have similarly tried to identify the materials that would have been used, and modified patterns and drafted them from scratch. The jacket is light. This is of course the villain of the movie, and the amber and camel fur that you see is a luxury shag style, the black, a very long pole fur from a local crafts store. The pattern is handmade by the cosplayer, and the head is built from a foam base in order to get the head shapes needed. The hand paws are patterned strategically to have his shape and design, which is all hand sewn except for the claws and paw pads. The eyes are a plastic structure built to follow you from whichever direction you look, giving him a cunning stare in all your photographs. A lot of this costume is in fact made by card, shaped by the cosplayer, and Velcro to fasten it with. There's also felt and false material to create the modern samurai warrior villain, the Shredder. The cosplayers selected this character to represent on stage because they love the Shredder on those original 90s cartoons all the way through to the present day. It's his favourite samurai martial arts villain of all time. MPT there as the This costume, more than any other in the competition I believe, is very heavily into SFX makeup and prosthetics. Dracula was this cosplayer's first silicone prosthetics project. It involved a cast of the head and onto which Dracula's face was sculpted. Dracula has 12 prosthetic pieces and a bald cap. There's 2 cheeks, the forehead, the upper lip, the bottom lip, the neck, 2 earlobes and 3 blenders as well. Every time this cosplayer wears Dracula, there's a good 2 hours ironing the robe and shroud, which, as you can probably see on the stage there, is not a small piece of fabric. The red robe has a 4-metre long tail, and it's inevitably that it might get just as wrinkly. The lance is in fact made from polystyrene, Evafoam and clear pipe, making it a remarkably lightweight piece. The special effects on the pod are the cosplayer's favourite piece of work, but the costume as a whole is quite beloved. They have strived to make it as accurate to the original reference material as possible. The cosplayer fell in love with 2B's design on first sight, but they have really challenged themselves with this costume as it is their most ambitious project to date, including 3D printing, laser cutting by the artist Sakizor. Most of the components of this costume come from needlework and sewing. All the patterns are handmade from scratch, including the pattern for the corset, which is fully boned with spiral and flat steel boning. The sleeves flounce and contain hundreds of individually sewn on fabric flowers cut out of a trim. Many parts of the costume are made from silk as well. The petticoat involves some 10 metres of organza and 20 metres of cotton. From Overwatch. The bodice of this costume is made from leatherette, including steel boning, attached to the back of the tail ends to create the animated tail flick. The ombre on the skirt and bolero sleeves has been hand-painted on using acrylic paints, and the ankle boots have been made using foam, which has been covered in material and more foam clay used to create the spikes on the front. Detailing has been carved into the broom with a soldering iron to create a wood-like texture for the main staff and bristles. Mercy's Vitae book has also been soldered to make it look like pages. Flagpole hinges have been used as the main structure of the harness for the wings, so they're able to fold down and
Is this a palace?
It's a stage.
Oh, a stage. There must have been great builders to build a stage this big.
The stage is twice this size in Winterfell.
Oh, my name's Jon Snow. My father's a fancy lord from Winterfell, and I perform on stages that touch the clouds.
If you saw the great stage of Winterfell, you'd be swooning.
What's swooning?
Fainting.
What's fainting?
It's like when a girl sees blood and she collapses.
Why would a girl see blood and collapse?
Not all girls are like you, Rick.
Girls see more blood than boys do. Or do you prefer women who swoon over you, Jon Snow? A spider! Save me, Jon Snow! My dress is made from the finest silks from Trollolololol day.
I'd like to see you in a silk dress,
Would you?
so I could rip it off you.
Well, if you rip my pretty silk dress, Jon Snow, I'll blacken your eye.
Just get lonelier the longer you're in love than if you were alone. Memories turn into daydreams, become a taboo. I don't want to be afraid. The deeper that I go, it takes my breath away.
Lay it there. Casual props there with their first.
So you think it's cool to bully me? You know nothing about me.
Nightingale cosplay there as Surely Honey Cosplay there.
What can I do for you?
Squalor